You know, DDoS has been gone for about a week, and from what I understand, he's been off doing all sorts of stupid things. He's still messing around with those monsters in the woods, and he's apparently what he calls the deliverance ministry, which, you know, the only thing he needs to be delivering is pizzas, but he calls it the deliverance ministry. He goes about and thinks he's helping his so-called brethren with so-called problems with so-called spirits. But folks, I'm here to tell you, there's no such things as spirits. When we die, we're chunked into the ground, we're thrown into the clay, and that's the end of us. That's the end of us, and then soon your children's thoughts of you will fade away, and your co-workers and your friends, and then they'll be like, well, who's Sleepy Joe? I don't remember a Sleepy Joe. He was president? He's president of what? The Bicycle Club? Now, folks, I know that sounds like a harsh reality, but it's true. It's true. And you can read all about it at the church, my church, the church I go to, where they used an upside-down Bible. I suggest you don't listen to what DDoS has to say about his right-side-up Bible. He seems to be well-versed in it, but folks, listen, I'm here to tell you. You don't want to listen to anything this man has to say. He puts himself in the woods with monsters. He's supposed to be the campaign manager for Donald Trump and Fred Flintstone. But this man is, as he would say, so lost in the sauce that he needs a defibrillator every now and again. A defibrillator? Is it a defib? He needs those paddles where you have to restart his heart. He's so crazy that he has to have his heart routinely restarted. He's a madman, folks. So, welcome to the BDRP Supernatural Late Show, The Late Show. And he stole that from Johnny Carson. That's what he won't tell you. He and his parents when he was a little kid, it was towards the end of Johnny Carson's career. His parents would put him in the floor when he was in his little diaper, his little shitty diaper, and he would watch Johnny Carson, and thoughts would go through his little feeble mind about being, I want to be the host of a late show one day, he would probably think. But guess what? DDoS is no more. I'm the new host of the Late Show. My name is President Joe Biden. And yeah, we're going to have us a time and a half, folks. And you don't have to worry about old DDoS coming to ruin it. First things first, he likes to acknowledge the people that took the time out of their evening to come and sit and listen to his rubbish. But what I'm going to do is not do that at all, and I'm not going to acknowledge anybody who's in the chat because I don't really care. He cares about you. And I care about you too. I'm just kidding, folks. Because I'm the President of the United States of America. And if I didn't care about you, I wouldn't be president, and all of you people wouldn't have voted for me. From what I understand, there were people who rose from the dead to vote for me. No, that's a president that you can trust. When people start coming back from the grave, and they do their hobble, like you remember the old Fear of the Walking Dead movie back in the 50s, 60s? When people start coming back from the grave and hobbling their way to a voting booth to vote for you, you're one hell of a president. But he likes to acknowledge people in the chat. Let's see, I'll acknowledge somebody. We got, who do we have here? We have Just Say No, and that other guy who's always here, and Mr. Beans, and Johnny Quest, and we got some of the moderators. And then, he gets upset sometimes because people come in blackface into the chat, and they'll mess with him and tease him. And he'll get his big delicate feelings hurt, but you don't have to worry about that no more because we laid him in the clay, and the only thing that's going to be hurting his feelings now are the worms. So don't worry about old DDoS. I'm the new DDoS. You can call me DDoS if you want to. No, don't call me that. Don't call me DDoS. I don't like that name. But we got a show for you tonight, folks. Tonight we're going to be talking about something that affects everybody, not just the supernatural, but it affects me. It affects you. It affects that person who's in your house, who's not related to you, sleeps under the floorboards. I'm talking about athlete's foot. Athlete's foot it's the biggest thing that's damaging the American people since DDoS started the Late Show. What else would you like to talk about? Hey, we're late, and we're sorry for being late. We just had to finish up planning some. What were we? What do I say? We planted because we planted him. So. We had to plant some azaleas. Is that what you call that flower, azaleas? Or some Easter lilies. We were planting Easter lilies in DDoS's backyard. And it took about 7 of us to do it. It took 7 of us because those Easter lilies were struggling like a son of a gun. He was stronger than a dose of coal oil. And but we finally got him. I mean, we finally got those Easter lilies planted, and we planted them deep enough to where, you know, even that conch on the back of the head with that shovel that we gave that those Easter lilies, that was enough for it. So we're in the clear and we're in the free. I think we'll be all right. Those Easter lilies kind of gasped and fell into that deep hole. And what was it, fellas? About 8 feet deep. And that's what they say. That's why they say the biggest Easter lilies will spring. The biggest, flower, most beautiful flowers will spring up, is if you conk in the back of the head with a shovel, is what I was referring to. But anyways, what else do we got? The Pope has changed the way they deal with spirits. That's coming on the heels of it being the end times, I believe. And the Pope he's changed the way that the archdiocese and the priests are going to be dealing with people who are possessed by spirits. Now, folks, the wisdom of the Pope, I just want to acknowledge the wisdom of the Pope to, at this critical time in the history of man, change the way that the church has been dealing with spirits, even though they've dealt with the same spirits, the adversary, as DDoS would call them, the adversary. He's always looking either the adversary. What if he sat down and talked to these spirits? Maybe he would have a different opinion of them. He said, "Oh, you got to test the spirits." You don't have to test the spirits. When that looks like grandma and pop, folks, that's grandma and pop. You know what your grandparents look like. You know what they sound like. There's no way a spirit can, even though they may be attached to the same family throughout time, there's no way that this spirit can look like somebody that it's not. It's just, that's impossible. And don't ask me how, but that's impossible. To hear DDoS tell it, there's nothing but demons. Everything's a demon. Demon. Well, I guess he does talk about angels sometime, but he's always talking about demons. Maybe he's the one that's in love with demons so much. Devils, he calls them. Or that's what I guess the Bible calls them. But that's the Bible that he reads. The Bible that I read, folks, it's not trying to scare you at all. D's a fearmonger is what he is. He's always, don't have any fear, he'll say, don't have any fear. But he's always talking about scary shit. He's always talking about scary shit. He says, like, he wants you not to be afraid. And then he'll open up the Bible and then he'll say, CEO, well, look where it says here. Even the Bible says, don't be afraid. But folks, be afraid most of the time. Being afraid is the most healthy thing an adult man or woman can do. I'm afraid of all sorts of things. I'm afraid of shadows. I'm afraid of black people. I'm afraid of losing the presidency. And again, I must reiterate the fact that I may be 83 years old, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm young and virile. I'm smoking Joe Frazier. Smoking Joe Biden. And just nobody can, I'll tell you a story. People like stories. He likes to tell stories, old DDoS. But we start bringing him up. He's dead. He's gone the way of all flesh. Where did he go? He went out of town to go find the elusive black man dog from Brown Springs. And there's a cemetery in Oklahoma that has a headstone that reads, "Killed by human wolves." And DDoS tries to link this to actual wolves, humans that look like wolves that walk around on 2 legs. But we told him right before we hit him in the head with that shovel and threw him in that pit in the back. They look, you don't know what you're talking about. I don't care if there's evidence of that. The American people don't need to know it. They don't need to know it. Just because you know it to be true doesn't mean everybody needs it. Folks, you don't need to know this stuff is real and it's fake. No, it's fake. There's no Bigfoot. There's no Bog Man. DDoS was an agent for the Crown, for Queen Victoria, and he deleted himself is what he did. He deleted himself, and before he did, he deleted himself right above this hole in his backyard. He said, "Sleepy Joe, my hero, Sleepy Joe, I need you to bury me in here with these azaleas and these Easter lilies, and I need you to tell people the truth because I've lied to them for so long, and I feel like I need to delete myself because I'm a liar and I lied to these people." And I told him that these monsters, that there's all sorts of evidence for, that there's been a DNA study on. I lied and told them that this stuff was real, and I know it's not real. And I work for MI6 and the Crown. And then he deleted himself and he fell in that hole. And I said, no, like all dramatic, like I'm a movie. I said no before he did it. And I ran in slow motion. And I didn't catch him before he fell in this 8-foot hole that was there for some reason. And what were we talking about? I was telling you a story about, ghosts. Remember these mean old ghosts in my house when I was a kid? And that shoved you right down the stairs. I mean, you tumble down, ba-doom, 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 ba-doom. You tumble down the stairs. And you'd look around like, what was that? And then you'd see him, and he'd be flipping you the bird at the top of the stairs. He looked like Milton Berle and Shaquille O'Neal had a baby. If Milton Berle and Shaquille O'Neal had a baby, that's what it looked like. And it had red skin and no clothes on. And no genitalia from what I could see. Not that I was looking, but he didn't have a genitalia. And I think he had horns and a vibrated tail, too. And he had a hay fork in one hand. And this bastard love child of Shaquille O'Neal and Milton Berle with red skin, horns, and a vibrated tail and a hay fork would push you down the stairs. And then when you looked back and said, oh, what was that? And you look upstairs, you'd see it, and it'd be flipping you the bird, and then it'd run off into the ether. And I was like, oh, that's smart. So I just got knocked down the stairs by some, well, wait a minute, earlier I said spirits don't exist. And that was just a story that I just decided to tell out of that didn't happen to me at all. Because there's no such thing as spirits. When you die, I'm going to let you know what happens, because I've died a few times. When you die, they'll call out this man, and he'll bring out a long black hearse, and they'll load your dead, lifeless body into this hearse, and that guy will sprinkle some salt into your mouth, some black salt, and he'll sew your mouth shut with that black salt inside of it, and he'll put some sort of chemicals in an eye drop thing like Visine. He'll put chemicals in that he's made in some sort of a black cauldron, and he'll sprinkle that into your eyes, and then he'll hang you upside down for, I think, 3 days, upside down, and he'll drain the blood out of you. Now hang you upside down with that salt in your mouth and your mouth sewn shut. And then after 3 days, he'll come back and put you on a slab, and he'll put new blood in you, you see. He'll put new blood in you, and that blood, I don't want to say where the blood came from, but that new blood will start coursing through your veins, and they'll help it along. I think he has like a bicycle pump that he helps the blood along in your veins. And when that blood hits your heart, you'll come back to life. You'll wake up, and it'll be like you just had some sort of a long nap. And rigor mortis would have set in by then, so you'd be barely able to move, and your bones would sound like a popcorn machine. But that's what happens. That's the only time you're going to come back from the dead. That's the only afterlife. Because when you die, it's like a dream, but you're not dreaming because you're dead. And it's the last little bit of brain activity that seems like it lasts forever, but it's only a few moments. And those worms, and that's why you got to hang upside down, number one. And there can't be, this room has to be almost vacuum sealed. There can't be any kind of leaks. And nothing can get in, not germs. Because, I mean, something could get your dead body and spring up like some sort of an amoeba or something in you that grows on dead things, and flies and maggots. We don't want those type of problems. So every time I, pass on, they hurry up and get my body to a place really cold, and I'll call over this doctor. And this doctor has a bone through his nose, and he has his face painted like the wrestler, Sting, from the WCW, the World Championship Wrestling. You remember that? His face will be painted like Sting, and I have a bone through his nose, and he'll be sprinkling what looks like paprika and garlic powder and oregano all over the place. When he walks, that's what he sprinkles behind what he walks. And I'll tell you what, if you walk in that spot where he sprinkled, your legs will feel like jelly. You'll fall down. I don't know why that is, because, I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can't, this doctor's I think he may be European or something. I don't want to say African because he was a black guy, but, I mean, there's black people in Europe, and I don't want to seem racist because it's an election year, but, and then they'll stand over the body, and when it's brought back, he'll stand over the body and go, over Bukajuga. And then he'll dance around in a circle, and he have his grass skirt on. And I think the grass skirt's only for this ceremony, where they're welcoming you back. They're welcoming you back from that place that you went, wherever it was. You didn't go anywhere because there's no spirit. So they'll welcome you back to life, and then that rigor mortis, you try to turn your head and look, but it feels like searing hot pain. And that searing hot pain will last for about 6-7 hours. That's all, 6 or 7 hours. Would you rather go through 6 or 7 hours of blinding pain all the way from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, or would you rather just be dead forever? And when they bring you back, there'll be a big celebration. And they'll make you drink this red stuff that tastes like copper. And then you'll be right as rain. And I know, folks. I know for a fact. Well, folks, we're getting close to wrapping it up. I'll take some questions, but I'm not going to take questions from the chat. They've been a little bit too rowdy for my taste, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And it insults me. It's a disgrace to me. You need to calm down in there. I don't know how you conduct yourselves when old Dudley Do-Right Doss is here, but you're not going to do it while I'm here. I'm Machine Gun Joe. You don't want those type of problems. I'll pop my trunk. I'll pop my truck and bring out that Chicago typewriter. I used to make people dance. They were a dancing machine whenever Smoking Joe would come into a restaurant. Remember, I went to this one restaurant, I had a date, and she was like, oh, well, they brought me the wrong thing. They brought her some cake cod or some type of fish, and she ordered ribs. And I was like, oh, well, that's okay, honey. I left my wallet in the vehicle anyways. Why don't you, and I told the waiter, why don't you just bring back, what she ordered, and everything will be all right. And I'll pop my trunk. I popped my trunk, got that Chicago typewriter, and I came back, and everybody was eating. And I said, okay, everybody, chill. Keep eating your food, keep eating your dinner. And when he came back out with that food and set it on the table in front of my date, the right food that you ordered, the ribs, I made him dance. He was a dance machine. Dance machine, watch me now. Remember that song in the 80s, Dance Machine? He was a dance machine, folks. And some of these people in the chat might be a dance machine too. You just watch it. You just watch it. The greatest question of all, and this is coming from a previous thing because, he wasn't prepared. We were ill prepared, so I got questions from a show that I was supposed to be hosting. And everybody knew it. There were millions of people that knew it, probably billions. And they knew I wasn't coming, so they didn't bother coming. But this one says, Mr. President, why aren't you running for president again? I'm running for president again, darling. And I'm going to get it. People are going to come back from the dead to vote for me. That's how great I am. And the last question is, Mr. President, why are you such an awesome president? I don't know. I don't know. It just comes naturally to me. Maybe because I've been on Capitol Hill for 80 years. I don't know. That's a great question. What else we got, folks? What else? But wait a minute. Who's that guy? Who let him in here? No. I'm hosting tonight. You get back. You stay away. Well, folks, it was nice that this has been a night's late show. And stay tuned for your evening news.
Yeah, get that creep out of here. I heard him say something about my boy D was in the backyard, buried, 8 feet deep. Yeah, get those shovels over there and dig them up. We're sorry about that, folks. This creep wasn't supposed to be here at all tonight. Tonight was supposed to be myself and another very special guest that was going to come. But, folks, I tell you what, there's only a handful of things that really get in my craw. And kidnap is one of them. And burying someone alive is another. And when you do that to one of the most respectable gentlemen in all the states, especially the great state of Oklahoma, now I tell you, boy, I oughta... Anyways, folks, that's enough of that. I'm going to be filling in for DDoS tonight because this guy, he's going to jail. So I'm just telling you right now, he's going to be busting rocks in a hot time. He fought DDoS and DDoS won. So I got my guys out there digging them up right now. And hopefully the oxygen didn't run out. And until then, I'm going to regale you with stories of my hometown of Bedrock. What's that? Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I was just really the announcer for the real host, folks. And you're going to like this guy because I love him. He is former president of the United States, Donald J. Trump. And, I'd seen a video on him the other day that I'd like to share before I give over the microphone to him. Oh, yeah, Don, I'm going to show it. I got to. He likes to dance at some of his rallies and whatnot. This started back in the 70s, folks. A lot of people call my friend a racist. He's no racist. And proof of that is he was one of the guys on Soul Train. They get up and they get in this line and they'd all dance their way to fun. And he was one of them. Then it was a blast. He tells me he was on there. He's embarrassed by it because he was a young man and the haircut was nice. It's out of style now, but I bet it was the bee's knees back then. Now, I'm telling you, this man is as smooth as silk. My friend and yours, former and future president, I'm his vice presidential candidate. Of course, we're running under the lock 'em up ticket. And that means lock 'em up. Wait a minute, that's not the name of it. What did DDoS name it? The open 'em up. Our dad, lock 'em up. I had this guy, this Fox host. And that's F-A-U-X, fake Fox host. This make-believe host. That's what I had on my mind when I said lock 'em up. It's the open 'em up ticket. And that means open 'em up. Open up them inside asylums right now, I said. Open up out for a while. And without further ado, here he is, folks. Your friend and mine, President Donald Trump.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I happen to be here. Dee, of course, is a very good friend of mine and Fred's. And I was thrilled. You know, I've had me some problems with the courts myself here lately. And I didn't know what Dawes had went through until I went through it myself. To be wrongly convicted of something you did not do. It's a shame. It's a shame. But just like Dawes, he was an inspiration to me. When that verdict came down, I looked at that man's candor. I looked at his resilience. He's resilient, people. I looked at that and I found hope in the example that he set. Fred, you got him dug up yet? Fred went out there to help him dig him up. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go help him. I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty. I got big hands. Big manly hands, good for digging. Shovels, pickaxes, sledgehammers. Got big hands, folks. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you this much, and I'll tell you right now. There's only one thing that I need you... Oh, well, there's several things I need you people to do. Listen real close. I need you to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. When you hit that subscribe, click the bell that says, I want to see every mad jack thing this channel has to offer. I want you to do that. I want you to do that not for me, not for even for yourselves, not even for Dee, but I want you to do that for America. And that's going to be our first tentative steps to making America great again. Folks, this has been a late show. We'll talk at you later.
They all left? They're gone? Oh, the fools. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I am the actual new host of The Late Show. My name is President Barack Hussein Obama. And I told this black ass, if he said one more thing about my wife, Michelle, if he said one more thing about Michelle, that it might be the last thing he said on planet Earth. And I made good on my promise. And I even set up Sleepy Joe to do it. Joe's the one, Joe and his goons, they're the ones that hit him with the shovel and toss him in that hole, not me. I didn't do anything wrong. So, folks, I'd like to welcome myself as the new host of The Late Show. Let's see, these are the scribbled notes of Dawes. This looks like some coloring book that Joe may have bought. Some might go with any of that stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, then you have Fred Flintstone and Don came in here like they were really going to do something. Now if they're digging that hole out, I think they're digging in the wrong spot. I'm glad of it. That man is gone. He's gone the way of all flesh. And I'm glad of that too. He should have kept his mouth shut like I told him to, but he didn't think that grease meant fat. I'm guessing all people from Oklahoma are as dumb as him. Man, I hope not. I don't see how they're still a state. I figured that would be just that big, empty area in the middle of the map. Oklahoma. Oklahoma makes me sick. I'm disgusted with Oklahoma and everything that comes out of it. And if I become president again, I can promise you folks I'll turn that place into glass. A sheet of glass. You'll leave Colorado, going to Texas, and you'll be slipping and sliding like you're on ice. That's what Oklahoma's going to be when I get back in office, just because DDoS is from that state. I hate this man. I hate this man with my whole being. He's not only a criminal anti-mastermind, a criminal anti-mastermind. I coined that phrase. I'll make sure I get credit for it, copyright it and everything. But they're coming back. Like, subscribe, and all that crap. And I'll see you tomorrow night on The Late Show, folks, where your host will be Barack Hussein Obama.
Hey, what the?
Later. Hey, Fred Flintstone, I was just leaving.
Wait a minute.
No, I was just leaving.
Hey, wait a minute, I said. Hey, Don, come in here. We got a rat on the ship. Why, I oughta. Come here, Obama.